I know I'm probably a little late to the party, but let's dive in and talk about Gypsy Rose's latest post where she tried to debunk some of the rumors floating around about her. She kicked things off by calling them false rumors of the week. First off, is she planning to do a weekly rundown of all the rumors being spread about her? Because that's certainly the vibe I'm getting here, and it's kind of funny, especially when she's claimed before that she doesn't care about what's said online. Yet, this post makes it seem like she cares a little too much.
She got her ass beat up during lunchtime because she was talking about how one of the girls who was put into her squad was there for attempted murder of her child. And she was sitting there saying how that child deserved it because the mom didn't want the child. She's about to have a baby. You can be all for abortion, but this mother physically, strangled her daughter to death. And that's not a way that you should be promoting anything.
No.
That baby didn't deserve that.
One of the first points she brings up is that CPS is not involved, and that her baby is very safe and healthy. Now, this statement might hold more weight if she hadn't brought up CPS herself just a few weeks ago. Remember when Gypsy posted about CPS false reports and warned anyone thinking about calling them? If CPS isn't involved or wasn't ever involved, then why even bring it up in the first place? She must have had some interaction with them to know there were false reports being made. So, to me, this feels more like a distraction, shifting the focus from CPS to her baby's well-being. Sure, her baby might be fine, but that's not really what people are worried about here. It's not that the baby is unhealthy, it's that people are questioning if Gypsy is fit to raise the baby. Let's be real, her history isn't helping. She's been involved in a brutal crime against her mother, and while people may argue about the details, the fact remains that her actions have raised serious concerns. People aren't necessarily calling CPS because they think the baby is physically unwell. It's more about whether Gypsy is a safe environment for her child in the long run. That's what the worry is about. And yes, maybe CPS is keeping an eye on her for reasons beyond her baby's health after all. Individuals with past criminal convictions, like hers, are often monitored more closely, especially when there's a child involved. It's not about the baby's health, it's about ensuring the child's safety and future. Next up, Gypsy addresses the weight loss rumors, saying she's not on any medication, and then adds, "I just look damn good for postpartum. Hate me because you ain't me." Honestly, this is hilarious. Why would she even say that? Who's really trying to be Gypsy Rose, right? Sure, there have been rumors about her possibly being on weight loss medication, but the part that caught me off guard was the second half of her statement. "Hate me because you ain't me" seemed like a bold, confident remark at first, but if you dig a little deeper, it has some interesting psychological undertones. This kind of statement definitely gives off a bit of a narcissistic vibe. Gypsy is almost positioning herself as the queen bee and implying that everyone else is just jealous of her. Now, I'm not saying she's a full-blown narcissist, but that kind of language raises red flags. It's one thing to be confident, but it's another to us that kind of language. It makes me wonder, is Gypsy genuinely confident, or is she just using this as a defense mechanism? Could it be that she's projecting her own insecurities onto others? The more I think about it, the more it seems like a possible cover-up for her deeper feelings of vulnerability. It's fascinating to see how she addresses these rumors, but it also leaves me questioning whether she's really being upfront or just trying to deflect from deeper concerns. What do you think? You're totally right in pointing out that Gypsy's statement about people being jealous feels like a way for her to dismiss any potential criticism or concerns without addressing them directly. By shifting the conversation to jealousy, she essentially shuts down any valid points others might have by invalidating their feelings. It's like a psychological tactic to avoid accountability. If you're just jealous, then your opinions don't matter. And yeah, this kind of language is definitely alienating. It could make people second-guess their feelings, causing them to feel like they're the problem, not her. It's a defense mechanism that might work on some people, but for others, it's going to seem manipulative. I completely agree with you. This isn't about diagnosing Gypsy, but her choice of words does raise some red flags. It's one thing to be confident, but when you start using that as a shield against criticism, it feels more like avoidance than assurance. Now onto her claims about taking care of her baby and doing it all herself. This one's a bit tricky too. It's great that she's confident as a new mom, but as you mentioned, excessive self-praise can sometimes come across as insecurity. Motherhood, especially in the postpartum phase, can be extremely difficult, and many women go through mental health challenges like anxiety or depression. So when Gypsy paints this overly polished picture of herself as an effortlessly perfect mom, it makes me question if she's being entirely authentic. It doesn't necessarily mean she's lying about being a good mom, but the way she talks about it might make people feel like she's overselling it or trying to portray an image that might not align with the reality of what most new moms go through. As for her denying that her baby isn't a doll or fake, I totally understand why some people might be skeptical. But personally, I agree with you. I believe Gypsy genuinely has a baby.
Okay, y'all, so yesterday I made a video in regards to what Katie Joy, aka Without a Crystal Ball, had said about Gypsy Rose. Now, in short terms, basically Katie Joy had said that the law had claimed that Louisiana state would basically take Gypsy's baby away from her once the baby is born, and any family member or can take the baby and take full custody of the child. Well, it seems like a lot of speculation was going on in the comments. Katie Joy had gone into the comments and stated that it was 100% fact. She stated that she had spoke to Christy, which is Gypsy's stepmother, and then Gypsy chimed in from her personal account in the comments as well. Let's go ahead and check it out. Now, Katie Joy stated, "This is not false. Christy 100% told me that DCFS will be available." Gypsy chimed in 4 hours ago on her personal account and stated, "Confirmed with my attorney that this is not accurate. They cannot take my child away without cause, even as a felon." Now, because some of you guys are thinking, how do we know if this is the real Gypsy Rose? Well, guess what? I clicked on the page. Gypsy Rose, this is her Cajun Heart of Mine. This was her account, is private, but I went on there and I double checked. But of course, let me know what you guys think in the comments.
Remember when Gypsy said that Katie Joy was lying about her child being taken away from her? Well, little birdie gave me a text, and that text shows that there was a message in regards to Gypsy's attorney asking if her child would be taken from her. And the attorney stated, absolutely not true. If that were the case, no one would have their children. Now, I also received message that Gypsy is in mandatory therapy with no parole violations, no arrest after release, and no conflict with the law. It shows that her behavior has been good and law-abiding since she's been out of prison. Now, no lawyers or doctors have stated any of the information to Gypsy in regards to what Katie has claimed. Now, the lawyer that Gypsy has is not only a family lawyer, but also her divorce lawyer. So that way she felt more confident in making sure that she had the right information to be able to share with said person. Hit the comments, y'all.
The thing about the baby not crying during the live stream is a valid point of concern for some people. But I think it's also possible that the baby was just calm at that moment. However, when there are so many rumors swirling, every little thing becomes magnified, and it doesn't help when Gypsy doesn't give clear explanations to dispel doubts. That kind of silence around certain details only fuels the speculation. You've really broken down her statement and the underlying issues well. Gypsy's use of phrases like, "Your brain has been rotted by misinformation," and "God gave you a brain," it definitely comes across as condescending and dismissive. By implying that anyone who disagrees with her is misinformed or filled with hatred, she's not just addressing the criticism, she's shutting it down. This kind of approach often silences those who may have valid concerns, and it deflects from the real issues at hand. You're also spot on with the emotional manipulation aspect of her tone. The way she frames her critics as misguided or misinformed puts her in the position of moral authority. It shifts the focus away from the points of critique and paints her as the victim of a media attack, which can make people feel guilty or ashamed for questioning her. It's interesting you brought up her past comment about being a good liar, taught by her mother. That's a crucial point because it raises legitimate doubts about how trustworthy her statements actually are. If she has been conditioned to manipulate the truth, it casts a shadow over her claims, especially when she's trying so hard to shut down opposing viewpoints. Overall, I think you're right to question the authenticity of her narrative. The dismissive language, deflection, and emotional manipulation all point to someone more focused on maintaining control of the story than addressing the issues honestly. It's a tough one. There are valid reasons for skepticism, but also plenty of room for doubt when it comes to how she's handling criticism. I'm curious, though, what do you think would make her change her approach? Do you think there's any chance she'd address things more transparently? Or is this just the kind of narrative she's going to keep pushing? Well, that's all for today. Let me know what you think about everything we've discussed. Do you agree with my take on Gypsy's response, or do you see things differently? Make sure to hit the like button, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates. Thanks for watching. This should give a clean and engaging wrap-up.